Ryzik and the Apple Orchard. In a small village hidden among hills and forests stood a little house with a sagging roof and a flower-filled garden. An old woman named Grandma Marfa lived there, kind and hardworking, respected by all her neighbors. Once, she was famous throughout the region for her apples, sweet and sun-kissed. But the years had taken their toll. Her hands trembled, her legs grew weary, and the high branches of the apple trees became unreachable. Life might have turned sad and lonely if not for her faithful friend Ryzik. Ryzik was a German shepherd with intelligent eyes and soft golden reddish fur, which is how he got his name Ryzik, meaning ginger in Russian. From his early puppy days, he had been by Marfa's side, first frolicking around her, and later growing into a strong and attentive helper. Every morning began with the same ritual. Grandma opened the old wooden gate, let Ryzik out into the yard, and gently said, "Well, Ryzik, time to gather the harvest?" The dog wagged his tail joyfully, grabbed a woven basket in his teeth, and trotted off into the apple orchard. The orchard was vast. Old apple trees stood in neat rows, heavy with round fruits. In the early morning, a light mist drifted across the trees, and drops of dew sparkled on the grass like tiny diamonds. The air was filled with the warm, cozy scent of ripe apples. Ryzik walked slowly along the rows, picking out only the best apples. Sometimes he would leap up to pluck an apple from a low branch. Other times, he gently collected those that had fallen onto the soft grass. He carefully placed them into the basket, doing his best not to bruise them. But one day, in mid-September, something unusual happened. Early that morning, when Ryzik had already gathered his first basket of apples, he suddenly heard a strange sound. Somewhere beyond the orchard, in the woods, trees creaked as if someone were pushing through the thicket. Ryzik grew alert, set the basket down, and barked loudly. Out of the forest emerged a young fox cub, thin, dirty, and clearly frightened. He was shivering from the cold and looked lost. Ryzik carefully approached, wagging his tail to show he meant no harm. The little fox looked at him with big amber eyes and let out a heavy sigh. Grandma, hearing the barking, came out of the house and saw the strange pair, the shepherd dog and the little fox. She immediately understood the poor creature needed help. "You poor thing," Marfa whispered. "Lost, I suppose." She brought some food and warm milk, and Ryzik allowed the fox cub to eat beside him. From that day on, the fox lived in the orchard. Ryzik took care of him like an older brother. He brought him apples, taught him how to forage, and showed him where to hide from the rain. They gathered the harvest together. Ryzik carried the baskets, and the little fox, though still small, helped by knocking apples off the lower branches with his paws. Several weeks passed, and autumn arrived in full. The leaves on the trees turned bright yellow and crimson. A cool, fresh wind blew through the village. Ryzik and his new friend worked especially hard. They had to collect all the apples before the first frost came. One night, a violent storm swept over the village. Rain poured down in sheets, and the wind bent the trees to the ground. Grandma Marfa sat by the window, worried. The roof of her old house creaked in the wind, and the storm howled outside. Suddenly, Ryzik grew restless. He smelled smoke. Without hesitation, he ran into the orchard and saw that an old barn on the far side of the village was on fire. Sparks, blown by the wind, could easily jump to the nearby houses. Ryzik barked loudly, sounding the alarm. His barking woke the neighbors. People ran outside, saw the fire, and quickly began putting it out, saving the village from disaster. When it was all over, the neighbors said, "If not for Ryzik, we would have lost everything." From that night on, respect for Ryzik grew even more. People made him flower wreaths from daisies, brought him treats, and children drew his picture in school. And Grandma Marfa often said, "Ryzik isn't just a dog, he's my guardian angel."